Hello, and welcome back to Kim Reads as we return to Straight On Till Morning. Pan. Night slow rolling into morning as the boat drifted down the last length of the new river. The sun was warm, the rain was gone, there was no maniacal mermaids, tyrannical pirates, unknowable gods, crystalline guards, or tricksy thistleits. Despite their pressing quest, Wendy found herself relinquishing the quietude. If life back in London were fraught and dangerous as it is in Neverland, she wouldn't have minded the quiet in between days so much. A giant house with nothing to do seemed almost inviting after such travails. Tinkerbell did not seem to be enjoying the lull in action. She had grabbed the prow of the boat and flew hard, dragging down through the water faster. Wendy laughed not unkindly at the look of forced determination on the fairy's face and the tiny muscles popping out along her arms and base of her wings. A few sparkle of fairy dust sweated off. The water grew shallow and spread into silver delta, sculpting the salt into 1,000 scales. The banks on either side became dunes. Once again, Wendy was on a beach facing the sea. Tinkerbell flew high to get a better view, letting the boat go. It continued on, neither slower nor faster, without much help. I wish you wouldn't get your hopes up about Peter, Wendy began carefully. We still have no idea at all where he is, nor in any way to find him. Hook should be our main concern now. We'll have to. But Tinkerbell dove down and grabbed her hand violently. She pointed across the sand. The fairy's eyes were the widest Wendy had ever seen them, so wide they threatened to consume her face. There, lying nonchalantly in the curve of a coconut tree, was Peter Pan. Oh, Wendy said, her mouth making the perfect shape of the letter as she spoke. He was unmistakable, slender, clad in bright leafy green, soft shoes with pointed tips, soft hat with a red feather and sticking jauntily out of the back, swooping nose, auburn hair and extremely distinctive eyebrows, dagger dangling from the thin belt. He let one hand trail luxuriously toward the ground and seemed to be conducting some sort of invisible orchestra with the other. His eyes were closed. He was so Peter Pan, it was ridiculous. He was realer than real, in brighter colors than Wendy ever imagined in Park Reader Date Tale. Just like a dream, but more. But how? They had been chasing his ghost all over Neverland. He wound up exactly where they were headed. Tinkerbell was smiling deliciously. Part of your magic. The story's part of his magic. Peter Pan. Then she zoomed off to see him abandoning Wendy and the boat. Wendy struggled to find foot and was asleep in a boat that was tippy, only clumsily managed to disembark. She started to haul the boat on the beach and then thought better of it. In Neverland, one seemed to be stripped of everything. Bags, modern possessions, decent clothing, ideas. Nothing material remained with anyone for long. Just look at what the Lost Boys wore and sat on, and what happened with Luna, she murmured. Found and lost again, even her own shadow. If she needed transport somewhere else, they would improvise. Wasn't that Peter always did in the stories? Wendy pushed the boat back in the slow current, slapped playfully on what would have been a flank. You go and help someone else now. You're free. Of me, at least. She watched it float away, so pretty and blue and gold like a toy, until it was far safely out at sea, and pretended she wasn't trying to delay her meeting her hero. With a sigh, she turned and began to head for him and Tink. She watched the prints her feet made in the sand and the trailing threads of letters and tatters of her dress dancing around her freckled legs. Not the way she had imagined she would dress when she met Peter. Not that she ever really imagined clothing in the adventures. Only the accessories, a stylish cap, a short sword. Everything else was ignored or presumed to be usual. Wendy in a light blue dress probably. A shadow, her shadow, danced over this and her feet, daintily touching them with on her toes. Wendy felt a surge of completeness, of warmth and solidity. Some exhaustion faded away. She kicked her feet, spraying sand and shadow sand at her side. Her shadow sputtered in surprise. "Oh, you're back. Lovely to see you again," Wendy said dryly. The shadow pointed to Peter Pan excitedly. "Yes, I know. We found him. Ourselves. No thanks to you. You didn't even come get us once you found him. Fat lot of good you are." And with that, Wendy ignored her shadow, walking with great dignity toward the plums where her friends were. "I'm afraid, dear reader, you can't see how the shadow reacted is, for Wendy was steadfastly ignoring her, literally refusing to see her. And since we are living in the story from Wendy's point of view, you shall have to resort to your own imagination to decide what the shadow did." Peter Pan sat up and looked at Wendy. The time had come to admit her wrongdoing and take her comeuppance. To begin the next part of her quest, where together the three of them would save Neverland. She stuck up her chin out and marched up to him. Upon closer inspection, she realized how small the boy was. Not tiny, but slender and no taller than she, maybe even shorter. His face was very boyish. He had not lost all the baby fat from his cheekbones yet, and his teeth were suspiciously small, like his adult teeth hadn't come in yet. Wendy swallowed, remembering the near romantic thoughts she used to have of him. The eager young lad looked up at her now couldn't have been more than 12 or 13 in young London years. His eyes, though fair and dark, somehow seemed younger than John's. "Hello, you must be Peter Pan." Wendy covered her mixed feelings and nervousness with accent and politeness. She did not curtsy. "Tink here was just telling me how you were going to help me find my shadow," Peter said with a grin of undiluted happiness. His teeth sparkled and his eyes crinkled in joy. All misgivings and reluctance disappeared. Wendy was immediately swept up by his energy. She would do anything with him. She could tell he was the most fun person in the world. His games would be the best. "I can see you're having trouble with your shadow, too," he went on to say, smirking at Wendy's. She risked a look. The shadow was pounding, arms crossed. "Well, wolves and shadows," Wendy said nonchalantly. "They have their own minds and motives. What can you do?" "Ain't that the truth?" Peter said with a sigh. Wendy felt her heart skip. He was cosmerating with her. They were bonding. 'Cause say what you want about them, but it's hard not having a shadow, you know. It really tires you out. I was just taking a lie down here on account of my continual exhaustion and the pains." "Pains?" Tinkerbell and Wendy looked at each other, worried. "Oh, stomach aches and heart aches, like I've eaten too much from the snacky tree," Peter said airily, dismissing it. "But aha, Wendy, I can't believe it. I used to come and hear your stories, and here you are helping me. On the beach, no less." "Of course, but what are you doing on this beach?" Wendy asked, curiosity getting the better of her and her apology. "Looking for my shadow, silly. Didn't I just say I was missing it?" he said in disgust. It was approaching noon, and they were close enough to whatever passed for an equator that had nothing but a shadow, except for the puff heads of the palms directly over their roots. And Wendy, of course, whose shadow skulked away from her on a sandy mound. "But there aren't any shadows at all." "Exactly, so mine would stand out, right? I'd like to see him immediately," Peter crowed in triumph. Wendy looked helplessly at Tinkerbell, unable to think of a response to this lunacy. The fairy, who had been looking up at Peter with wide eyes a moment before, a delicate hand on his, gave her a little shrug. "What can you do?" "Peter, I know where your shadow is," Wendy said quickly, before something else stopped her from admitting the truth. "I had it in London. I traded it for a passage to Neverland." And Peter Pan, for perhaps the first time in his existence, was silenced. Tinkerbell gave Wendy a nod and a tiny smile, pleased at her friend's brave admission. "You had it?" he finally said, trying to work it out. "In London?" Wendy nodded. "You left it there the last time you came. I suppose you surprised or upset Nana, our dog. She tried to bite you, but you grabbed your shadow instead, and I'm afraid she ripped it off you. She didn't mean to, really. She's a good dog. She tried to protect us. I kept it all these years, folded carefully in a drawer. waiting for you to come back and fetch it. I remember now. Peter leapt up, twirling and laughing and crowing. That was the last place I had it. Gosh, I haven't been back to London at all since then. I haven't gone back, not even to look. That's strange. I searched everywhere else. I should have looked there, but Tink kept telling me. He frowned. Tinkerbell swallowed. Wendy bit her lip. Tink, Peter said, eyes glowing with rage and suspicion. Why did you keep me telling me it wasn't there? That I shouldn't bother to look at London or going back. Didn't you want me to see my shadow? Tinkerbell wrung her hands and swayed back and forth miserably. I didn't want you seeing Wendy again. Wendy? Peter demanded, confused out of his anger. Why? What's wrong with Wendy? Is she evil? No, I was jealous. What? Jealous of some silly girl? I beg your pardon, Wendy said, eyebrows raising. Tinkerbell nodded woefully. And you were jealous that you were all right with me going out of the shadow for the rest of my life? What kind of friend are you, Tink? She didn't know I had the shadow, Wendy interrupted quickly, seeing the flame in his eyes. Not really. In fact, she came to London of her own accord to look for it. But I already left for Neverland. Well, thank you for that, he spat, looking wrathfully at the fairy. It's like hundreds of moons since I lost it. You're the worst, Tink. The little fairy clapped some crumpled ball of wings and arms and legs and began to weep. Oh, Wendy cried, scooping her up. She made a mistake, Peter. She tried making up for it. She did it because she loves you, and she didn't want to lose you. Loves? Peter asked, sounding sick. He stuck his head close to the tear-eyed fairy. Is it true, Tinkerbell? Do you love me? The fairy nodded, sparkling tears still spilling out of her eyes. Well, that's nuts, he swore, sitting back on his heels. Shit, don't cry, it's all right. The fairy stung and burned. For only a moment, but it was still a little unnerving. Just give him a few minutes. And I don't mean nuts just about the love. Black business, Peter continued, stomping up the beach and then swinging around, stomping back. It's nuts and bananas that you say you care about me and then wait forever to give me my shadow. Tinkerbell, you're banished for treason. Oh no, stop it. She did the wrong thing for the right reasons, Wendy snapped, which is incredibly strange because here was the hero of her dreams and she was talk to him like she would Michael or John when they were being silly. Don't go banishing her or whatever. Accept her apology and move on. We're wasting precious time. There are other things going on besides reuniting you with your shadow. Hook is planning to destroy Neverland as some sort of doomsday farewell gesture. He's just planning to capture you before he carried it out. Oh? All of Neverland? Destroyed? Peter asked, surprised. That's huge. All right then. Tink, you're forgiven. Don't you just love the Neverland justice system? He switched from a red-faced anger to forgiveness, was so abrupt and apparently free from reflection that Wendy felt seasick. I'm sorry. Tinkerbell jingled through a gap in Wendy's fingers. Golden light spilled all around her apologetic face. She looked like a tiny Renaissance saint. Apology accepted, Peter said, nodding officiously. Don't do it again. I never will, she said with such warmth that you could feel it on her fingers. Now then, what's all this hook about wanting to destroy Neverland? Peter asked. I mean, he's evil, but he's not insane. Well, right, he's insane, but not that insane. If he wants to destroy Neverland, where will he go? Right out of my stories forever, Wendy said, along with the rest of you. Tinkerbell shivered. Well, it all seems crazy to me, so how does he plan doing it? I don't know. I don't know any of the details beyond the fact that it has something to do with getting you first, maybe using your shadow to lure you in. It's like he wants to punish you and erase his past at the same time. And she added quickly, making herself sing again, clearly and loud. It's my fault he has the shadow, because as I said, I traded it to him to come here. Peter looked up and down at her as a senior for the first time, reevaluating. Yes, you are a bit too old to come to Neverland the normal way. Plus, you're a girl. Silly one, I'm told, she said archly. I'm going to stop right there, and I'll see you tomorrow.